This is the Situation Room of Television Nigerian, where we discuss everything COVID-19 and how Nigeria and the rest of the world is reacting to the pandemic, which has literally put the whole world on a standstill. Nigeria is feeling it and dealing with it. Well, it is Workers' Day around the world, and Nigerian workers join their counterparts around the globe to mark the day amidst a lockdown. No thanks to coronavirus. Well, I'm Charles Ibe. Messi Joe is also in the room.
Thank you for having me.
And also Daniel Atai.
Thanks for having me, sir.
Yeah, you're welcome to TV Nigeria Situation Room.
Thank you,
Thank you, sir.
Yes, Messi Joe, you've been out for a while. You've been missing in action. MIA.
But I'm back.
All right, so how has it been? Can you just share briefly the experience of this while?
Okay, COVID-19 everywhere. We are praying for COVID-19 to free our people so we can go back to our daily lives and how everything can be. These days, one cannot just move and by mistake try to touch another person because you're scared. Even your clothes, when you're coming back to the house, you're scared that you don't know if you have touched someone that may have contacted the virus already. You pull them from outside and immediately you are giving them to wash the clothes.
Wow.
And all that. The face mask, using it has not been comfortable, but we just have to use them, all these things.
So people are actually adapting to it?
Yeah, people are actually adapting to it. I saw some markets that opened up, because I think Tuesdays and Wednesdays are meant for markets to open up. Quite a number of persons use their face mask, although they still use the hand gloves, but I haven't been advising people to use the hand gloves because once you're touching other surfaces that lots of germs may have, you may have come in contact with some germs, you still touch your mobile phones, you still touch your steering wheel, your hands later on, your bare hands later on, come to touch them. But so far so good, Nigerians have been adhering to the lockdown, although it will be lifted by on Monday. Partially and gradually, and lots of people haven't come to the understanding that it shouldn't be business as usual from on Monday. Lots of people want to open their saloon, their boutiques, everything, and that's not what the government is saying should be opened. What should be opened should be government offices, banks should be open, and there are curfews. So Nigeria should still follow all those measures step by step. They don't get misled at the end of the day.
All right. Engineer Dan, so we've held up this far. By Monday, it's going to be all over. Not really, but systematically.
Yeah, technically it will be over. It will be over by Monday, the 4th of May, 2020. And we hope so that Nigerians and, of course, citizens should also have sigh of relief from the economic hit that has actually dealt with many already. You heard one of our resource persons talking about economic hardship being one of the worst things on earth any government should have, because it will actually deal with citizens and their livelihoods, whether social, political, traditional, religious, is affecting everybody. Even psychologically is affecting everybody. And sometimes people are saying they are no longer afraid of COVID-19 and the propaganda attached.
Yeah.
Since we could, maintain the the solutions given to us, and we wear a mask, avoid social distancing, and then also we maintain good hygienic at home and wherever we found ourselves. I believe it will be difficult, and sometimes we take hot tea. Yes.
Is it a solution now?
It's part of solution. So we take hot.
I think some people are taking hot
coffee, Lipton, and
anything
so that we can actually drive ourselves, get out of the shells of poverty and certain things. I think is a welcome idea by Mr. President.
It's okay. Well, just to remind you that you can also be a part of this program. You can call us, you can text us, you can go to the comment section and drop your comments there, and we will definitely share with the whole of Nigeria. It is Situation Room Television Nigerian. We'll take a quick break and the program continues. Join us again. Thanks for joining us again. Now, Kano State on Thursday overtook the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, with total confirmed cases of COVID-19 after recording 80 cases in 24 hours. Now, bringing the total number of confirmed cases in Kano State to 219, while Abuja has a total of 178 cases. Now, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control has on Thursday announced that 204 new cases of coronavirus have been reported in the last 24 hours. Now, that's huge, bringing the total number of confirmed cases in the country to 1,932. I think
quite a number.
It's quite a number, and
catchy figures.
It keeps increasing. It's actually worrisome, isn't it?
Very, very.
And given the fact that by Monday we're going to be having a partial, a lot of people are going to be coming out again and mixing up somehow, because there's no way you can totally avoid coming in contact one way or the other. Yeah. So is it a sort of worry?
It's a very big worry for lots of persons. I think even in our breakfast show, we have been talking about it for a very long time now, because we have this large amount of cases. And one fears that before on Sunday, we might actually hit the 2,000 button.
Just a few numbers shy from 2,000.
Exactly. So it's not far from there already. And health workers are already crying out and saying, if our cases escalate and becomes like that of the Western countries, Italy, Spain, we are not ready for it. The federal government is not ready for it. I mean, see bed spaces that they're already complaining of. They have just about 3,500 plus bed spaces all over the 36 states of Nigeria, including the FCT. So what's now going to happen when we exceed 3,000 cases? They're now talking about employing home care for patients, so they can stay in the room and isolate themselves, and then the health workers come to meet them in their house.
That's quite worrisome.
Very worrisome.
What do you see?
Well, the issue of the geometrical and exponential increase in this COVID-19 disease, it's not something to be worried about. Like some experts have said, that it is not a death sentence after all. You know, the way people want us to believe that COVID-19, the more is increasing, the more fatality it could be. Actually, we know that it is not true, though we know it is fatal, but there are remedies already, and there are precautionary measures one could actually put into practice, that this thing cannot take away your life. If you want to talk about sick people in the country, almost 80% of Nigerians are sick apart from COVID-19. They're actually sick, having one ailment or the other, but they still hang on to life. The best way is for you to struggle to live, regardless of what the news is breaking every day, number of deaths, number of affected persons, positivities, and so on. Just set your mind that yes, it's a war that you will definitely win, and that COVID-19 cannot get you down. I think that is just my word of motivation, and I believe it's achievable, it's practicable, and I don't believe that COVID-19 has come to destroy Nigeria.
Yeah, but the issue of the Kano, Kano just leapfrogging to overtake the Federal Capital Territory.
Definitely, it will happen.
And it keeps increasing.
Yes.
What actually is this factor? What is this Kano factor that is making it this?
One of the factors, religious factor, which most of them there, they have wantonly refused to obey the order of the NCDCs. You see mosques and churches going on, and they are competing. This church, this mosque is open, you didn't go there to arrest them. Why would you allow us? And the Kano indigenes originally as an emirate, they just cannot do without, I wouldn't say religious bigotry, I would say religious activities. And that has been one of the things. I think the Kano State Governor at one time arrested 15 imams to make sure that it serves as a deterrent to others not to continue that trend. And apart from that, the Almajiri factor, the Almajiri factor, and that was why he rose to that occasion and said, I'm sending all Almajiris to their various states. And of course, with that level, the number of infections, infected persons in Kano now will, be exported to other states around Kano.
Yeah, because
if you remember, the Almajiris that have been deported from Kano, most of them, about 16 of them, have already tested positive for the virus in Kaduna State.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, that means to say, before they even left Kano State, most of them, they've already circulated their viruses everywhere.
And
so
the number of Almajiris
how many
there.
people they have made contact with, how many cars they may have touched, and other persons coming. So you see, not enough measure can be taken right now for Kano. Kano's cases are going to escalate more than how we're seeing it now.
And it's even going to be a worry for their close neighbors.
And
yes, talking about interstate boundaries.
That's why Kaduna actually locked their borders now, extended theirs by 30 days, because they are scared of the interstate traveling. Most especially, not even the FCT, they're scared of Kano State. Because Kano and Kaduna, they're too close. Once people start flocking in.
Yeah, what about this interstate? I'm just skeptical about this border thing. Is it all about road borders? I mean, maybe federal roads that cross from Kano to, but what about village linkages? There are some places that before you know it, you're in Kaduna State, now you're in Kano State.
Because I'm hearing of sneakings.
Exactly.
That
so
video of the man that rejected his son coming from Lagos. He asked him, how did you come? He said, I sneaked, I stopped at Abeokuta. From Abeokuta, I entered Lagos. Ekiti. Where did he pass?
Exactly. I will talk about border lockdown.
In those days when we used to go to Cotonou to buy cars, and you discover that there are numerous, pathways linking the country to even outside international borders and so on, not to talk of national borders, interstate borders. The borders are just porous as anything. How many number of policemen or immigration do you have to mount borders? How many customs will even want to go to borders where they cannot gain anything when there is? You understand?
Before now, there was no need for us to close boundaries between states.
No.
You understand? There was no really need for that. We are having sometimes we are toll gates.
Toll gates.
Now those ones are gone, and even just on the major routes. What about on the feeder routes, intercommunal routes? One community links to another, and we saw, it's another state.
The most important thing is that despite the spread and to contain it, you have to just, be following the precautionary measures. That is it. If you follow it, if you adhere to it, I don't think the COVID-19 will jump from the sky and enter into your body.
At least Kano State, they have a capacity of 274 bed spaces. Peradventure the cases rises. Now when the cases rises above 300, what happens? Although they are trying to put in place the proposed structures for new 500 bed spaces and other things, and I think the NCDC has actually released some things to Kano State: ventilators, protective gowns, examination gloves, boots, covers, medical masks, surgical caps. That's to actually reduce their cases and actually help them with
and including the head to protect the health workers.
Exactly, because we don't need a situation of health workers contracting disease now in Kano.
But I tell you, if testing is conducted in Kano, more than the number you have today will be discovered.
Exactly.
And so sometimes some people say it's better not even to know than when you know the fear of COVID-19 alone. Because the majority of the people are carrying COVID up and down.
I mean, see the cases of the unknown deaths, the mysterious deaths.
Exactly.
We haven't yet ascertained what killed majority of them.
I saw a report, I don't know how verifiable it is, that about 41% of those deaths had symptoms of COVID-19. So it's not really certain that it's what killed them, but they had symptoms.
And most of them had so much contact with their relative, loved ones and all. I mean,
it's an exponential blow already.
And now,
spread.
Looking at the fact that just 2 out of 36 states and FCT, just 2 states now are COVID-19 free. Talk about Kogi
and Kogi State. Yobe was actually among making it 3, but
no,
now Yobe has a case.
And that case was from Kano.
Even the Nasarawa State case was from Kano,
Oh,
a
Kano
woman
too.
coming in from Kano.
Kano.
Now they claim their borders were closed. How did she come into Nasarawa?
Even her brother, I think she made contact with some persons in the family, and those ones are refusing to come for test. The government said, come forward, let's examine, they are running away. So because they believe that sometimes if you take them to quarantine center, they will be dumped there and avoided and, even stigmatized.
Yes, that comes to where you said coronavirus is not a death sentence. I actually wanted to come back to that statement. It's not actually a death sentence. But you see the problem.
It kills.
It kills.
There is not a death sentence.
But the thing now and the problem now is the situation in Nigeria where the NCDC are already coming out saying there's fire on the mountain. We have just 3,500 bed spaces in the country. When we now are face to face with a case like 5,000, that is when it becomes a death sentence, because God forbid, if I contracted the virus now, I am sure that there's enough bed space that I can be fixed on the bed, receive treatments and all that, and I know that I'll be fine eventually, probably maybe after 40 days, like Atiku's son, something like that. But now, when I'm not hearing the cases are escalating, and we know that we don't have enough capacity, that is where the fear comes in. That is where the saying COVID-19 scaring you.
Let me add to what you are saying. That is why I see to it as, magnifying COVID-19 in this part of the continent. You understand? You are magnifying COVID-19. And that is to say, COVID-19 has become superior to all diseases, even though the diseases are killing people every day. Nobody is talking about them, and nobody is even worried about number of beds for them. They must compulsorily come to hospital. It is not a must. After all, the federal government have also said that they are looking into, and my problem is with them is that looking into how hospitals, private hospitals will begin the treatment of COVID-19, and they have to be certified from NCDC, and they are looking into
taking
that.
so much time.
Now, while the spread is going on and they are magnifying it every day, it is the same NCDC that before you wake up, they will send you text messages on your on Twitter. They will say this, the number have increased.
Fast about that, why can't they be fast about implementing
be proactive? Allow competent hospitals to treat COVID. Don't magnify COVID as if COVID is more than any other.
The thing here,
it's not just your everyday.
It's not your everyday regular.
It is a
I
pandemic.
understand.
And it requires.
It's not an ordinary flu.
Tuberculosis was a pandemic. Cholera too was a pandemic. HIV was a pandemic. In fact, the latest pandemic. So
the fatality rate
smallpox,
as much.
HIV, the way it came, killed a lot of innocent people. Ebola too. So if we magnify it, if we are magnifying it every day, giving people high BP, why don't we give people also the solutions we are doing?
But the
solutions we are
not
doing.
yet here.
They are. If they are not yet here, the people that are discharging from the hospital, who are they?
So we need everybody to be well.
Yeah, it is impossible for everybody to be well.
Ebola didn't last this long.
Yes.
Ebola didn't last this long.
I think what we can only advocate is that people should adhere to the instructions.
Just adhere.
Mostly from
Take good care of yourself. Be hygienic. Wear your face masks. Keep social distance. Take good hot water all the time. Make sure you.
But when we're talking about this,
let me just say this now.
COVID-19.
There is a lockdown, and you are worried about. We are magnifying COVID-19. The cases keep increasing, and we shouldn't pay much attention. This is on a lockdown. Can you imagine what's going to happen when this thing is lifted partially, and you know that even the lockdown was resisted to some extent?
Yes.
Now, when you open it up for everybody, it's definitely going to be. Most people don't even have what they are putting on right now, and most people are not going to get it. The law enforcement agents might be overwhelmed, and even in the presence of containing it, might also even get infected themselves.
No, we're talking about community infections.
Exactly, because it's already here.
My brother, this is Nigeria.
So the community people that don't have access to the gloves.
If COVID-19, the way we magnify it, or the NCDC and
no, they are doing their job.
They're just coming
I have a point. You people are not getting me. If you get me, you see. If you like magnify it tomorrow, there are people it will not kill and to not be able to kill.
Of course, they can't kill them.
And then number two, no matter.
Me.
Even when HIV came, you know how much people dread HIV.
No, those
and
kind
so
of diseases are not the type that easily will catch persons.
It's more of a behavioral pattern that
it's not as if I said the story about COVID, the story about COVID in Africa and the rate at which COVID dominate our political, economic and media space. In fact, we should not magnify it that way.
But it does
I am saying,
it doesn't magnify enough because it's affecting
to me
the
now.
economy.
Okay, initially they said it will take 18 months to bring the vaccine.
Now,
I want you to
trials.
get the trials have emerged. Apart from trial, even Bill Gates have come out to say that any moment from now there will be vaccine for. He was the one that even said 18 months from now. You understand? Had it been we all went into our rooms in fear, locked down our houses in fear, just the way we saw in Italy, Spain and China. You understand? It means we'll be waiting the next 1 year, 6 months to get vaccine or solutions. There are solutions to COVID-19 and the federal government must also go into action instead of bringing bad news to us every morning.
They're already on it.
You understand?
They're not bringing
you wake up, they are telling you numbers. If you are giving us statistics, give us also the solutions that you have provided or the solutions you are embarking.
Which are the precautionary measures that they want?
It is not enough.
Curative,
that is preventive. That is just preventive. What about the curative? Other countries are bringing curative. So the government should stop giving us bad news and hypertension. Move into action as a nation. You are a sovereignty and you can do it.
Mr. Inspector,
no, I'm telling you this. I don't want every money. COVID-19 is going to keep you. COVID-19 is spreading. COVID-19 has no solution. Man, this is a nation, for God's sake, and we have institutions that can deal with COVID-19. Enough of the stories. We should move into action, bring solutions to table and let people see the solutions. To me, I'm tired, to be honest.
The thing is this, the federal government is not actually sleeping. They are doing a whole lot. In fact, as the program progresses, they're going to also bring you up to date on what some of the actions the government have been taking. You are talking about solutions. We already have homegrown solutions that government already knows about.
The homegrown solution that the government knows about, the government has defiantly and wantonly even rejected its own institution. This same government, the SGF, is thinking of going to import from Madagascar COVID organic, thinking of solutions from the United States of America, thinking of solutions from other places. Why can't you look inward? Look inward. We have dealt with so many diseases, and then you are coming to say every morning COVID-19 increases 1,000. Whom are you giving that sort of bad news for people to die out of hypertension?
What they are doing is not out of place.
It's out of place to me.
Even if they bring, even if they give you drugs now, say this thing is going to cure COVID-19, you also need to tell people measures. What they are saying is these things.
They have been telling us the measures.
A lot of people still don't believe this. A lot of people are still doubting. A lot of people are still claiming superhuman. It's not going to affect me, and they are going about their normal business. Even if you still now, let's look at the HIV. Say there are antiretroviral drugs.
Yes.
Every day people still get infected by
HIV.
Exactly. Even though the drugs are there, they can't stop asking people beware of risky behaviors that can lead to HIV. They can't stop putting out adverts. Protect yourself and all of that. It has to go on.
I believe the audience understood me more than.
Even with COVID-19, even tomorrow there's a vaccine, there will still be sensitization. Wash your hands. You don't even need to get it in the first place because you don't need the vaccine. So that's what government is trying to tell people. It is everywhere. Prevent it. Don't get it and start saying there's a vaccine, because you might not even be alive enough for the vaccine to get to you. You understand? Even if by tomorrow it can kill somebody today and then the vaccine comes out tomorrow, what about that life? It has been lost, and it would have been prevented if he heeded the advice of government. So I don't think what government is doing is out of place. Yes, the numbers should keep coming. If it increases, tell us. If people are getting cured,
so that
tell
people
us.
can understand how serious it
is.
And if
Mr. Peggy, Mr. Charles, and Mercy J. You see, we all cannot be cajole at the same time. Okay. I get what I'm saying.
You have to do selective cajole.
No. You see, this is Nigeria, and one of the worst nations where people don't adhere to hygienic lifestyles or sanity. Even the environment alone can also, give you more than
Okay, so
COVID-19.
why-
What I'm trying to tell you
why do
is
we have
this.
that?
See, the issue is not why again. It has come. The issue is that what are you doing about it?
So it doesn't mean Nigerians are naturally dirty people.
A lot of us are dirty. A lot of us don't. Let me tell you, it's a country where the system deliberately puts people into abject negligence and suffering and poverty.
And so that
you have to
that
struggle
makes-
at times, even almost with your life, to succeed in this country, where no enablement might come from the government or from anybody except spirited personalities. I'm telling you this, and because of that, I'm telling you that if COVID-19 had wanted to be fatter or had the opportunity to be fatter, not these measures we are doing will prevent its fatality from killing millions.
But
And that is to tell you,
the measures that have been taken have actually helped a
I'm praising the measure. But what I'm saying is this, the measure that we have now, we should have gone beyond that. We should have gone beyond every day you send us tests about wash your hand. Yes, we are doing that. Wear your face mask. We are doing that. Keep social distance. Nobody wants to willingly die. Nobody, not even you as you are sitting down here, wants to die.
No,
the fact that you are aware that COVID-19 is there. So for that reason, the government on its own, at the state and local government level, should invest into solutions.
They are doing.
No, they are not doing it. They are still forming committees upon committees. Waiting. What they are just doing is number of bed, waiting for people to count the number of bed we have here. We are waiting for so number. It's bad news. Now, how can you be, preparing for people to come when you are not even proactive enough to say, as a sovereign nation, if I'm the president, by now I tell you, in 1 week I will get COVID-19 solution for my people. Who are you waiting for? You are waiting for United States, or you are waiting for Japan, or you are waiting for China, or you are waiting for Madagascar to bring their own. We don't even value what we have. Let me tell you, you heard Ben Ayade talking as a virologist,
yes.
And in fact he said he read immunology, and he could develop the vaccine in no time.
So what is he waiting for?
What is he waiting for? He is doing his own, and he has come out to say it, and it is now left for the government and the PTF to say, okay, those persons that have this claim, including the traditional people that say they have the claim, bring them together, show us to them in the media, stop the hanky-panky, get a press conference, let the nation watch you working, instead of saying I'm drafting committees for this, I'm drafting the manufacturing of masks, 101 million masks. Yeah, we know that is preventive measures. What about curative measures? Are you incapacitated as a nation? Don't we have institutions that you have been founding for years, university professors all over? I mean, it is uncalled for, and it is impossible to believe that we are even thinking of going to Madagascar to bring solution for COVID-19.
You know that we are in a situation.
We
are in a situation, and Nigeria this is a dawn of reality. Okay, now you said.
Can I say something?
Let me come. We have been funding institutions. We have universities and all of that. But now the reality has come that perhaps those things we are not actually being. They are not. For now, they can't help us. And we need help. People need to survive. Those that are down need to get up, and those that are still fit need to stay far away from this disease. And everything government is doing right now, I think, is using a two-pronged attack. While they are trying to bring up solutions, they are trying to contain this thing.
My brother, I'm telling you, they are not trying to. See, are you not watching the minister? Are you not watching the SGF chairman? It's like you are not watching them daily. Let me tell you what they do daily when they come to brief. When they give, I'm not criticizing them that they are not trying. You see, they are trying in the aspect of prevention, but.
And they say prevention is better than cure.
People, and they are afraid prevention is better than cure.
Not in this case. Not in this case.
Not in this case, because you see, when somebody, they fear that they say you are positive alone because of the way they magnify the COVID. You understand? If you know that you are positive alone, you own don't finish. I'm going to die.
You see. Like what you said now, I don't think people are actually scared of COVID. Like
no. Of HIV, yes. They are not scared because they have found some technical fault that COVID can actually survive in this part of the country very well if you maintain these principles of precautionary measures given to us, which is also good. But what I'm trying to say now, Nigeria as a nation, okay, yes, COVID has come. What is your history? What are you going to write that, yes, when this pandemic came, you dealt with it? At least Ebola came. We had that, holistically, within less than 1 month, we dealt with Ebola and it disappeared. Are you getting me?
Can I come in, Mr. Spector?
Before you come in, please. You understand? We dealt with it, it disappeared. Now, this is a pandemic. US is overwhelmed. Is it because US is overwhelmed? Japan is not overwhelmed. They came out of it. China is not overwhelmed. They came out of it.
They are still in it. So
they came out of it because right now they have reopened schools and everything, and they have given preventions, and they say this is what and what to do when you have COVID. So what are we waiting for?
But they don't even have a drug they are giving their people.
But they adopted a drug of their own traditional medicine, Avigan, Favipiravir. They endorse those things, and then they are using it even without waiting for World Health Organization to give them approval. So we, with all these institutions, what are we waiting for? We are waiting for what? And what did we do in those people that we treated and discharged from the hospital? What were the solutions we gave them before we found them to become negative?
You know what Mr. Spectacle has
and then
said?
We should just follow the solution. Simple.
I see some reasonings for what he has said. Now, if the government is looking for preventive measures or bringing out preventive measures for Nigerians, it is actually true. It's right for the government to call all bodies that may have possible cures,
solutions, and stop waiting for anybody from US or Madagascar
or them
Bill Gates.
If they need some particular fundings to
they give them the fund. They give them the fund. They say I even given 25 million to people. Is it the 25 million you can't give to people to go and develop drugs and even vaccines? I understand. I say they are giving them the money. Yes. The government has the money, and the government, the presidential task force is even thinking of going to Madagascar to ask for help.
Regardless,
it's good to ask for help. To carry all this money to them. What about your own? What are you doing about your own?
I'll tell you very fast. I said in the course of this program, they're going to tell you some of the things that government is doing. Perhaps you
exactly. That was the point I was about to make. Regardless of all these things we are saying, the federal government, Nigeria, has actually tried. Because if the ECOWAS can come out to commend our president, then we are actually getting something right. Yeah. We're getting something right. Regardless, yes, Nigeria will come to that stage where we try to get a solution. But for now, we're trying to contain the cases. Exactly. It doesn't escalate because we have too many things in front that's going to be a problem. If these cases escalate, let's first think of that before start thinking of solution, because they cannot divert the attention so much.
Yes.
No, there are do you have delegation of duties now? We have various departments. While one is running for preventive measures, there are others who are experts in creating vaccines and you heard about what Ben Ayades talked about, how to get the vaccines. And it's not different.
Another one should also be talking about palliatives.
Other ones. We have delegation of duties in the ministries, department, and agencies. So I don't see any problem why we should.
Going to school, the ones that cannot access online education, another committee should be set up for e-learning.
And the committee will continue to be set up while people actually get hypertension from the bad news we get every day of COVID-19.
Should be set up for rural communities so that they can have face masks, access to this face mask,
face masks, sanitizers, and the national orientation agency. They are not coming to help people to say, don't worry, this thing will not kill you, this thing will not do you anything. No, I don't know, no motivation.
And another committee should be set up to put pipe-borne water in every rural
community.
Another committee should come up so that they can explain to the people what the government is actually doing.
And then later the committee, despite forming all this committee, their final dotting of the I's and crossing of the T's, you will see that they will wait for either Bill Gates or Melinda Gates or Madagascar president or one nation in China. And in the end, you will discover that despite all this funding, donations, help from Germany, help from US, help from everywhere, they will still tell you that the solution came from India or somewhere. No story of their own. It's a pathetic one. That is why I'm challenging them, that we have our own solutions.
All right. It is COVID-19 Situation Room of Television Nigeria. And also, if you check your time, it is top of the hour. So let's go straight to the news desk and bring you some news headlines. And when we come back, the heat continues. Join us again. Thanks for joining us again. This is COVID-19 Situation Room of Television Nigerian. And like I said before we started, you can also join in the conversation. Please send us your messages. Call us in. Our phone lines are open. Let's hear directly from you. Or go to our comment section and drop that comment, and definitely we are going to share it with everybody. I've been in the situation room with Messi Joe and Mr. Daniel, and it's all heated up. What government is doing and what government is not doing. Well, perhaps let's look at this few stuff. Then after that, maybe you will all come down and say, okay, let's see.
This is what the government is doing.
All right. Now, a group of Nigerian Catholic priests have developed a supposed cure for the deadly COVID-19 pandemic in the form of a drug called Pax CVD+.
Good.
Now, the breakthrough is a joint research effort of experts from University of Lagos, University of Benin, IRA Specialist Teaching Hospital, that is in Edo State, and experts, underline that, experts sent by the National Institute of Pharmaceutical Research and Development, and also the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration, NAFDAC.
That is it.
So now, you see,
that
the government have not really been sleeping.
No,
there's something.
So can we commend the government?
Well, yeah, but you say
joint efforts.
You said experts.
Sometimes
were they contracted by the government, or they did it on their own?
NAFDAC is a government agency.
Yes.
NIPRID is a government agency.
Good.
Now, IRA Specialist is a Edo State. It is also a state government. And now this Pax is also herbal based.
Good.
It's herbal based.
That is it.
This Catholic, they have this.
Kudos to them. This is what this is.
Madagascar is herbal based.
It's herbal.
Exactly. And now, so that's because we are saying government is not. I say they are doing something now. Government is recognizing that the solution can actually be homegrown.
Exactly.
And see a partnership that have yielded something. So all we are looking for right now is what's next. What is the Federal Ministry of Health going to say? Because now they can't say no.
And the National Health Insurance Scheme.
Exactly. NAFDAC is involved. NIPRIT, which is about pharmaceutical stuff, is also involved.
It's just time for them to conduct trials.
That is it.
Specialist hospital, and then some homeopaths. Is it what they call them?
Yeah.
That do this, homeopathic doctors and all of that came together, and something is out.
Oh, thank
and
God.
I believe for them to have announced it, there must have been some clinical trials.
Yeah, they say the nuns. Is it Catholic?
Catholic
monks.
Yeah, it's in Edo State.
Somebody is calling into the program. I think Edo State. They are calling into the program, and I think. Hello.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Your name and where you are calling from, please.
Thank you very much. My name is Peter. I am calling from Guadalajara.
All right. This is the situation room of the Nigerian News and Television Nigerian.
Thank you very much. I've been watching Abdullah. It's a very heated argument in the studio there, and it's very interesting.
Thank you very much.
I want to quickly correct an impression so that other viewers can also understand that the Nigerian government, as far as this COVID-19 is concerned, has done so much, even more than some other foreign countries that you are, that the team there are even making recommendations to.
Yes.
Don't forget that America, as mighty as they are, have given up at the point.
Yes.
COVID-19 brought them down flat.
Yes.
And even the British government, COVID-19 brought them down flat.
Yes.
It's only in Nigeria here that we have been able to compare. Look at the number of people that are infected in our place. It's about 1,000 now they are dropping, and good number of people have been properly managed, and the government is really managing the situation, because you see, Nigeria at this point cannot even start looking for solution, because we have a massive economic problem that this COVID-19 has thrown us into. So looking for solution right now, gathering scientists and all of that, I think it's even high time that scientists around Nigeria should be patriotic enough not to wait for Nigerian money. To start looking and doing their own personal research.
Exactly.
So the government has done very well, but Mustafa-led committee has done very well. If they are going to Madagascar to go and provide solution and bring medicine to us, there is nothing wrong with that. Don't forget that we depend on HIV and the viral drugs from the international community to contain the spread of HIV in Africa. So let's give kudos to this government at this moment, because I can tell you for free that in Africa, Nigeria has been the only nation that has stopped COVID-19 to a standstill. Look at our case, very minimal, and it is given to the stubbornness of our people not to stay at home. People move up and down. People, if you go to China, you go to Lagos, there are traffic everywhere. Even that the government has said people do not go out. With all of this, we are still able to manage our numbers.
Anyway.
Please, the government has done well, but it's also a call, a wake-up call for them to do more. As a matter of fact, I'm calling on the IG, the Inspector General of Police, and the team to mobilize these people more. As a matter of fact, what six Nigerians that are going out that are against this lockdown is working. That you don't anybody that stay on the street, because this sickness is no longer with the rich. They are not the rich.
All right, thank you. We are having other callers on the line. I think your take has been well submitted and noted. Thank you, Peter from Abuja. That was a patriotic one. We are still waiting for more calls.
Yeah, please do call us. Keep your calls.
We commend the Nigerian government for taking that step, and we wish that they actively continue in that trend. Yes. Hello, you are live on TVN. This is the Nigerian Situation Room, COVID-19.
My name is Mensa. I'm calling from Ghana.
Name, sir?
My name is Mensa. I'm calling from Ghana.
All right, Nemsa, you are welcome to TVN.
Africa.
Wow, nice.
And I also want you to know that we are able to curtail this using the model of Nigeria.
All right.
Ghana was able to take 60,000 citizens, and today Nigeria has been able to recover from this. I want you to know also that we should be discussing post-COVID-19 now. It is about how the economy is going to be driven after the post-COVID-19 experience.
Yes. Thank you very much.
So we should be concerned about how the industry that should be handling very simple production like gloves, masks, and all the PPEs in case of another pandemic coming.
Yeah.
Because all the industries are scared. So please, Nigeria should wake up in that regard, not in the management of the COVID-19 at the moment, but the post-experience.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for that wonderful take, Nensa from Ghana.
Very nice takes from
Mensa.
I mean, a lot of commendations.
Yes,
from Nigeria.
I love the previous caller when he spoke about patriotism on the part of Nigerian scientists coming out with their solutions.
Yeah.
Rather than waiting on the government as well too.
Yes.
I think there was a time on this program we talked about government and the people,
Yes.
where you should wait for the government and where you shouldn't have to wait for the government.
Exactly.
Bring your patriotism out now. If you feel you have the cure or the solution, rather than waiting on the federal government to notice you, do your 1 or 2 researches. Be sure of what you are coming out to claim. Do your trials. Go to hospitals. Tell the federal government, I'm not even asking for money now, but let me know if this is going to work for our people to get killed, so our economy can open back.
Exactly.
There are several people that are offering the government that opportunity. Some people are saying, even we can trade, give us the patient of COVID-19 and see, test our samples, whether we can truly do this, whether the analyses are okay or not.
You have
Before now, that yes, if not what you read today, how the scientists meshed together to bring out, looking for solutions, we've been relaxing before, and you can't blame anybody for, asking the government to step on their toes and do what is needful as a sovereign nation. That is it, and we thank God they have a listening ear, and they have done that. And I think they should not stop there.
I want to take a cue from what
COVID-19 will not be
about what we should do for Nigeria, not waiting for government. I should have been thinking by now, given the enormity of the situation we are facing, that ASU should have called off whatever they are talking about, get all their scientists back to the laboratories, and now put their heads together. I mean, we should have been out of this by now.
We have lots of universities in Nigeria that boast of good facilities, that boast of good professors, that boast of good
University of Ibadan, University of Lagos, and so on, University of Kano, Northern University.
It's time to go back to the laboratories and bring out equipment, bring out
that is patriotism.
down to work. That is patriotism. We have been talking, because patriotism is not only about giving your neighbor food.
Our patriotism is not only when government gives you your salary or whatever,
and then you
because the government trained you to that level. The government sponsored you to several courses, research work, and so this is the time for you to actually reciprocate it and say, okay, this, you've trained me, you sent me to this course, I could do this.
Exactly.
And I think they should call off their strike or whatever. They are angry about IPPIS,
because
and
I
so
believe
on.
if it was in the time of Nnamdi Azikiwe, those patriotic persons, the case will not be that, okay, I have this thing, this solution, but the federal government should come and give me this, so forth, so that I can be able to research more on it. No, it shouldn't be that case anymore. We should be patriotic till the end.
Yeah, but at times when you are talking about patriotism, some research work need funding. And it's not as if the government is folding their hands. The government actually gave this money, funded these things, and said, let me tell you, I like the government of this administration.
I love the government.
I like, immediately this thing came, they released the money. While we are backing and shouting like this, is that people should not feast on this money. They should do exactly what the president asked them to do.
Exactly.
They should not be thinking. If the president says think within, go and think within.
Yeah.
Don't think without. If the government says we want solution in this country, don't go and be looking for a solution from somewhere, even though the solution was coming from there, because there is that tendency that while you are trying to look for solution from abroad, you could say the money is not enough. You understand? Whereas it will be cheaper here with our institutions and the cadres of the virologists and immunologists, and we have oncologists that we have to deal with this situation.
Right.
Enough of the bad news from COVID-19.
Now, what we should be talking about is, like Mr. Joe said, do what you have to do instead of waiting for the federal government.
Exactly.
Besides, if you wait for perhaps the president to come and make an announcement and say this, sort like this, the Catholic, then the NIPRID,
Yes.
the NAFDAC, the ERA specialists,
Yes.
they came together. They didn't wait for government to direct them.
No.
You understand? So I think at this point in time, private individuals, organizations should work with Nigeria, not for Nigeria.
Exactly.
Work with Nigeria against this fight to make sure
In partnership.
in this fight, in partnership in this fight, so that COVID-19 is kicked out of circulation. Wiped out. It will be once upon a history, like we talk about 1918 flu or whatever. Yeah, it will be a very, very sweet experience. Remembering that also we were part of this novel coronavirus,
Yes.
and we were part of the team that defeated the novel coronavirus. Let's take a break, and we will come back. The program continues after that. Join us again.
Understand by the word coronavirus?
Well, the words I understand for coronavirus is a disease. That is my way of understanding word of coronavirus.
Okay.
It's a pandemic disease that all over the world people are suffering on it now.
Okay. What is the difference between isolation and quarantine?
Well, from my understanding, isolation and quarantine, isolation is that somebody who has it already. Then quarantine is that maybe they tested the person, or you went to some place that there's such much of that coronavirus, then he'll be in isolation for that. For that 2 weeks, if there's no problem, means he can go away, do his own activities as normal as every time.
Okay, if you come back from somewhere, then you isolate yourself.
Yeah, isolate yourself for 2 weeks. If there's nothing sure, means you are allowed to go to everywhere.
So what about quarantine?
Quarantine is that somebody who already have it. That is my way of understanding. Who already have the sickness, then should be in that quarantine, taking care of himself with some drugs if God help, because there's no vaccine. Physically, there's no vaccine to cure the sickness. So I think for that it should have to be for 2 weeks or more than that until the person is getting safe.
Your name?
My name is Thelma. Thelma.
What do you know about coronavirus?
Coronavirus is a virus.
Have you heard of isolation, quarantine? Have you heard of it?
Yes, I have.
What is the difference between isolation and quarantine?
Nothing, they are the same.
What is it the same?
Isolation is like to isolate yourself like 2 weeks. Quarantine is just like a holiday. Honestly, I don't know. I'm not prepared for this. Don't.
Why is they not prepared for it?
I'm not prepared for it. Don't worry.
Coronavirus is the new sickness where everybody is aware of, and it's very effective to every human being on earth, which you can contact from your neighbor by shaking hand and shaking and some other things, or talking to who get it, and without covering your nose with this can face mask, you will contact the sickness easily.
Okay, what's the difference between isolation and quarantine?
That one, sure, I'm very sorry, I'm not too much understand about it.
Which one do you understand most?
What I know is all about this sickness of it, coronavirus. But some of us say we contact from animals. Why we experience it within ourselves, that we quickly contact with our neighbor, but we don't know how come about the sickness in Nigeria. All we know that they say they carry it from outside to Nigeria. That is what we know.
But you've not heard of quarantine before, or isolation? You've not heard something like that before?
Quarantine is what I know about quarantine is about how to making love with your colleagues or share love with your colleagues. That's what I know about quarantine. Apart from that, I don't know anything about quarantine again.
What about isolation?
Isolation. Isolation is something as in... sorry, I can't even explain more than that. I'm very sorry for that. Thank you very much.
The difference between isolation and quarantine is that people that are being quarantined are people that have been infected with coronavirus. But isolation is like me and you now, we are given ourselves social distance. It's a kind of isolation. You get what you are under quarantine, means you have already contaminated the disease. You have been in quarantine in one particular hospital. At that process, they are giving some medication to recover. And let me tell you one thing, coronavirus is not a death sentence. There is still a hope. You may contact it at the end of the day, you may be well.
You say people who have contacted it are people who have quarantine. What if the people coming from outside country? Does it mean all of them have contacted it?
So those people that are coming from outside country, that's how they check them. They will check your temperature. If your temperature is running high, they will need to keep you for a while. They will still test you. If you are being contaminated, they will isolate you. Do you get me?
It's coronavirus. It's a virus that is killing people now. Actually, we learned that from China. That brought the virus and spread it, and it's killing a lot of people. And see, like Nigeria, everybody's at home because of they're afraid of the virus. Different, like me, isolation, only me and my house.
So person make coronavirus, government carry on. What you are carrying to?
I don't understand.
If person get coronavirus now, government can carry on. Where the carry on go?
According to them, it's an isolation center.
So the isolation center for your house now?
Yes, I have it at home. So only me in my house.
So do you have coronavirus?
Me? No, I'm preventing myself.
Why can't the isolation now?
That's what Nigeria wants. You should stay at home.
So they hold now. That's isolation.
Yes.
So your house now isolation center.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's a virus. What I mean by virus is that they are unseen things that is very, very small that enter somebody's body. Then from there it will start circulating in the person's body and maybe and give that person a problem.
Yes, so we have quarantine, we have isolation. What is the difference between the two?
Quarantine is when somebody goes into a place where the doctors will look at him very well and know where exactly what he's suffering from, whether it is that disease. Then self-isolation is that probably where there's no doctor, you take yourself out, maybe lock yourself up till the necessary authorities will come and look at you.
So if you're on self-isolation, does it mean you have coronavirus?
Sorry?
If you are in a self-isolation, does it mean you have coronavirus?
No, probably you are thinking you might have. You are not sure. So, but you want the relevant authorities to check whether you have.
Okay, what is different between isolation and quarantine?
I don't know that one.
You've never heard of quarantine before?
I didn't hear it.
So what can you say about quarantine?
Because of this coronavirus, people want to come out.
So what do you understand by quarantine?
Quarantine means because of this coronavirus, people don't go out, people their house, they go anywhere.
What about isolation?
No, I don't know for that one.
The coronavirus, as from the information we have been hearing over the media and from the write-ups and articles that we have reading, we made to understand that coronavirus is a virus that is killing people. So that is all what I can say.
Okay. You've heard of quarantine, isolation, you've heard of it?
Yes, I have heard about quarantine.
How can you differentiate the two? What is the difference between them?
Yeah, scientifically, the two, they are almost the same. Quarantine, normally people, we consider it as a person that is already infected with the virus. So it's under quarantine so that he will receive treatment. While isolation, the person is yet to be scientifically tested. So the person, they kept him to observe him very well so that they will monitor him before they will put him in quarantine for proper treatment. So in the other way around, they are similar. But the only difference that isolation, you are under monitor so that they will make a confirmation whether you are affected or not. While quarantine, the test has been carried out and they know that you have it, so you are under treatment, isolated.
Coronavirus is a disease that it was coming from China. So that's why Nigerian people, that becomes a problem, serious disease.
Okay, have you heard of quarantine, isolation? Have you heard of it before?
Yes, I have of quarantine.
So what is the difference between quarantine and isolation?
Quarantine means that if you have been travel from Lagos, maybe you have come from the Lagos, so you need to be quarantined yourself. After, if you have been quarantined, if you're having a virus, you will now isolate yourself among the people that doesn't have it.
Have you heard of coronavirus?
Yes.
Well, have you heard of quarantine, isolation? Have you heard of that before? Quarantine, isolation.
Quarantine.
Isolation.
Like.
The word quarantine, isolation. Have you heard of them before?
No.
You never heard of quarantine before?
No, sir.
Thanks for joining us again. It is the Situation Room of Television Nigerian, and we are talking everything COVID-19. Now, today is May Day, the first day of May, and we all know what May Day is all about.
Yes.
Work. So it's the day we celebrate Nigerian workers. The workers all over the world are all celebrating. Like in the beginning, we said they joined their counterparts today all over the world to celebrate, but in a lockdown situation, it's necessitated by COVID-19. And by Monday, workers are going to get busy again. That's those who still have work to go back to. So, I mean, workers today are reflecting on a whole lot of things. Situation of service, especially there's one issue that has arisen with this COVID-19 pandemic, cut in salaries. Yeah, there was a directive, I think, from the federal government that nobody should lose their jobs. I think maybe they are talking about the civil service
jobs. I don't
yeah,
think
civil
the
service.
private that
Yes,
is not.
but the private jobs are not. They don't get such directives
no.
because they fend for themselves basically. But
I
from the civil service, yeah, we heard about salary cuts. In fact, Kaduna State actually is in the pointer because they took 25% of their salary, worker salary for the month of April.
Yes.
To add to.
And the NLC came out to attack that.
Even not just the NLC, the NMA. Yesterday, the NMA from Kaduna, they are talking about, they're not laughing about it. Give us back our 25% because.
And Access Bank is not even exempted from that slashing of salaries.
Yes.
This morning, I was reading on a newspaper where they said Access Bank is going to slash the salaries of their workers, and I was surprised. Is this really the period, knowing that they earn so much as a bank? So I don't think this is the period for them to be slashing.
No, it's a private sector driven effort.
Yes.
So they must have looked at the parameters, looked at the statistics, looked at the I's and the T's, know which one to dot and which one to cross, and come to that decision that perhaps this cut will help us. I hope it's for the meantime, though.
Because I think some private organizations will take advantage of the situation now and make it a permanent situation. They slash the salaries, and then over time they just leave it that way. It happens like that sometimes.
No, but should you actually worry? Because once the economy improves, jobs will improve, companies, their return and their turnover will improve, and once it does, of course, they are going to look at salary increments once again. Perhaps they will now revert back to the old.
Yeah, you know, a case of wanting to eat your cake and still have it. I pray it doesn't come into play that time.
So, Mr. Dan, you're going to say something about workers?
Anyway, happy Workers' Day to Nigerian workers.
On the quarantine, in the lockdown.
On the lockdown, and then on the hope that the lockdown is being lifted, we are waiting for resumption. Partial resumption by Monday, and we are used to the normal Nigerian workers' plight, both at the civil and public services. I think the civil service of this country has actually not had it so nice. I think the sigh of relief came under this administration of Buhari, where the pension board will have to be questioned, the what do you call it, fiscal allocation commission will have to sit up, TSA, single treasury account, has to be enforced for people to actually pay in money. And so a lot of things have been achieved by the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari in determination as a willing president who actually want to change the country from the usual corruption that we know. And this corruption has already affected a lot of the civil society, the civil workforce, the labor congress of this country, the labor force of this country. And
I want to take you up on something. Earlier in the day, you talked about Oronsanya reports, what the president has directed, and the fact that a lot of measures, I think that report recommended measures or thereabouts, scaling down.
Yes,
now, it appears it is inevitable now because there's a fear of recession and all of that, and they talk about cutting costs of governance, cutting down the wage bill of now, isn't it going to affect the workers? Because this is workers day, we're talking about all things workers.
I was going somewhere, but I know why you brought in this.
Yeah, because I know that
you see, like I said, the Nigerian worker over time, I've got used to the anomaly of indebtedness in terms of salary not being paid at the state level, even when the president give them money, give the governors money. You understand? So the workers, the Nigerian workers, the normal or the average Nigerian worker is already used to that. But thank God, even our pensioners, so things are going to change. But the scrapping of some parastatals and the merger of same to form other parastatals to merge together in order to reduce cost is the work. Are you coughing, madam? You can take excuse, and if it's not coffee, I'm sorry, you can take excuse. So you understand? So if you merge the parastatals together, it will reduce the workforce though. There will be a loss in job, and there will be increase in savings, because the government cannot continue to, actually pay some unnecessary parastatals that are not functioning. People are ghost workers there. They increase our expenditure. That is talking about the budget that goes into the salary payment, talking about recurrent expenditure. And so even the concurrent expenditures, there are parastatals which budgets are being allocated to, that certain things should be done. Maybe the painting, the light, the structures, and so on. Those parastatals have been lying down fallow, doing nothing, giving no production into the Nigerian enterprise and economy. So such is why the federal government have taken that decision that, okay, let's listen to Oranya's report and scrap those things. Oranya's report and scrap these ministries, these parastatals and agencies, which is good.
But is this scrapping scrap them?
So will definitely be scrapped, because
with the workers and every other thing, or are they going to make the workers move them to another ministry and
there is a way. I think there is a way the government will do it, because you see, if you have not been working, what productivity have you been giving? But
they are an entity. They are there now.
Yeah, if they are there, and the government, of course, this is a federal government agency, the government will always, the FGA that I know under this administration, will do something very, very thoughtful for them, that they could be absorbed into other ministries, other parastatals, or into paying them off, and paying them their allowances. Those that should be paid off will be paid their allowances and their pensions together to go and start up maybe SMEs, or those who are productive, who could make the economy drive forward. Of course, they will be retained inside or into the other ministries that they merge with. But to say that, yes, why are we merging, why are we this? No. I don't think any politics should be attached to this policy that has just been introduced.
No, the only concern there is about the job loss, the job security of the people, because you are talking about parastatals, it's Nigerians that work there, it's workers that are there. They have their grade.
My brother, they will be paid off. Don't say Nigerians that work. Okay, for instance, look at this NOAA. Let's take, for example, this National Orientation Agency.
Yes.
Has it been working? Have they been orienting anybody?
No.
You see, how many times have you come up to see National Orientation Agency working in this country?
Yeah, but there are some adverts they do. There are some flyers that I've seen.
If you go to the terms of their word, their blueprint, the essence of the NOAA, you would know. When we were growing up, we know what NOAA used to be. Now, suddenly, maybe because of the sensitization through social media and the Ministry of Information, NCDC, NCC, that department seems to have, gone away. So it could be merged, incorporated into the Ministry of Information.
I think they are not a part of the Ministry of
Well, they are an agency on their own, and then their job definition is clear. But to me, it's a waste of money, or just...
All they need is just to change the nomenclature. Now you are now under the Ministry of Information. For instance, so nobody loses...
Department of Orientation. So it will just become department instead of an agency.
So
inside the ministry.
No job losses.
Job will definitely be lost, because not everybody is there. Even have they been working? There are so many processors, I think I have the list, that have not been doing anything, lying down follow.
And they've been collecting salaries.
Salary, they even name board chairman, board members to these parastatals, giving slot to their political aides and allies and affiliators to benefit. And that is why you see us calling billions during a budget presentation and budget whatever, and you don't seem to know where this money is actually going. But when you hear the amount, it's enough to have emancipate Nigeria from underdevelopment and lack of social and infrastructural amenities that we have.
I think I just want to applaud the workers nationwide, most especially the frontline workers, the healthcare workers, media houses, journalists that have been in the middle of this COVID-19 chaos. They have actually done well, mostly the health workers. So a lot of applaud has to go to them. This Workers' Day, I think, belongs mostly to them.
And especially journalists that have been doing the work of the National Orientation Agency.
Yeah.
So they deserve, what do they call it again?
Kudos.
Oh, the kudos?
No, there's something that was trending at one point. They deserve
accolade.
An accolade.
Okay.
All right, so finally, still on this Workers' Day thing, we've talked about Oresanya reports and then the possibility of job losses and all of that. Okay, let's look at the private sector. They are also workers. They work, and then a lot of them now are going to be already out of jobs, because some companies have laid off, some are scaling down, and some are taking job salary cuts and all of that. So now those people on the outside, once this thing is lifted, they're going to be looking for another way of re-engaging themselves. Already the economy is going towards a recession, and then people are unemployed, the number increasing due to COVID-19. What should be the mindset again? We'll try and keep talking about all of this.
Yes, I think just like before, we made some statements one time talking about the government and the people trying to be independent in their minds. I believe that it's still a situation where people can be independent in their minds. You have lost this job. Before you get another job, we all know it will be very difficult in this period. Nobody wants to employ anybody right now. Even when COVID-19 is over, there'll still be a long time before anybody wants to employ anybody. So that's the time for everybody to think outside the box. Try to establish something for yourself. Try to understand how you can play around entrepreneurship. Having an enterprise, trying to go into small businesses. Farming, we talk about farming. Farming is there. We need food in the nation. We don't need to be exporting. I mean, there are sanitizers. People are making sanitizers these days. So while the COVID-19 is still going on, you might as well make good use of it. So that's what I have.
So we're going to in a way, we're going to have an uprush in the small and medium kids.
Exactly.
Because a lot of new
mask.
entrants are going to be entering due to job cuts. You know, people have lost their job. They want to get busy.
Yes.
Is it not going to be a pool, like a kind of a pool? Is it not going to have a kind of a effect on the demand and supply chain? Because a whole lot of people coming out to do something and then flooding the market. Don't forget the fact that there are no jobs. I mean, there are no monies, actually. Salaries have been cut and a lot of things. People are struggling to survive. Are we going to see a kind of chaos in the economic sector?
I think this would just be a case of try by your luck.
It's not.
Try your luck. You just have to find a way.
Nigerians have been trying their lucks. Nigerians have been, especially those who practice day-to-day jobs in the private sector and the SMEs, like you said. Most SMEs are self-employed, and they have also the capability to creating more jobs. But the wherewithal usually is not there. For instance, as I'm sitting down here, apart from the media, whatever study that I have the capacity to training even 100 or 200 persons in ICT. You understand? I can actually teach people programming and softwares of handsets, talking about phones and computers. But do I have the wherewithal now? And sometimes you apply to the government to give you loan for this and that.
And also, given the fact that those people you have to train, they have to pay you, and they might not have the money.
We could even do it that the government is training these people.
The government will pay you to train them.
Okay, for instance, we have workforce in this organization. Imagine those ICT experts can now, iPhones, can program iPhones, can program their iPad, can program their systems on their own. You don't need to depend on anybody. You understand? You become creative on your own and you get money. There is nobody that don't use a phone, for instance.
Yes.
And there's nobody that don't have computer or laptop at home. So we're talking about the IT world. So, but if you request a loan from the government now, hardly you get it. Especially the middle people who just cut this loan. And so that knowledge that you have, it became that is in only you now. You can't let it out. The wherewithal is not there. You just can't give it. If not, what job creation is very simple. If I have a content and I'm able to train you in that same content and even make you better, you understand? You train another person and the chain continues. That was what China did. That is what Japan did, Korea did. They harnessed their experts and artisans from the street, gave them containers. If you go to China now, where we go from Nigeria here in Guangzhou, that is at the seashore that you see industries. The industries are not gigantic the way we thought. You will see containers. People are manufacturing phones inside container, bringing cartons, packaging it, shipping it to Africa. So
that's why you have a lot of substandard things coming.
Whether substandard or standard, it depends on the one you pay for. If you want standard, you get it. But the fact is that there is job creation and something is going on. And none of them is independent. I mean, is dependent on anybody. They're not even waiting for the government. People that are already paying tax to the government. Most of them are millionaires. You see them with their laptops. You see them with their phone. You think, this one Yahoo boys. No, they are writing programs in their phones.
At least even now, at least the health sector, there will be a lot of recruiting now for health staffs. For instance, over time in the university, when persons study things like biochemistry, some of all those microbiology, some of all technology. Those exactly. When they come out, they hardly see jobs because they feel it's only the nurses and the practicing medical doctors they should employ. Now, the federal government will be needing the services of all those people.
Yes.
The biochemists, the microbiologists, the anatomists, the physiologists, the pharmacists. They need all of them.
All of them.
So you see now, they have, it's sometimes when people are crying in some situations, some people will definitely be rejoicing.
Exactly.
There will always be the two sides to a coin.
But in economics, we are talking about equilibrium, where not as you are crying now, you should not be crying. When the doctors and the medical workers, the microbiologists, the pharmacists, and so on that you call, they are rejoicing for job creation. Now, the propensity that you, who is maybe in another field, you are in another field, should also be there that you are rejoicing, and actually is there. But the enablement is what is not there. Just like the enablement has not been there for the health workers, and some of them run away to US and America to go and work as medical doctors and medical nurses. Canada's have almost our medical nurses and doctors there. The same is true with US and UK.
Because
And
there are not enough.
the number of ones we have in the country about just a little over 60,000. A little over 60,000. And this is a pandemic, for instance. And if not God and the measures the government and we ourselves have taken, imagine if people are dying in that millions.
All right. Now, our time is fast spent. I want to have your last word. Nigerians are going to be let loose by Monday. Okay, perhaps whatever time we want to use it, relaxation of lockdown or so. But the thing is, there's going to be a whole lot of movement. People will be coming out and all of that. So, final word, especially on keeping safe. It's not yet over with coronavirus.
It's not over till it's finally over. So Nigerians, I indulge Nigerians to still adhere to the prevention methods being slated by the NCDC. Keep your hands washed. They should keep their hands washed always with soap and water. They should use their hand sanitizers. They should use their face mask. Do not go into gatherings thinking all is well when all is not actually well. Yes. Now, it shouldn't be business as usual from on Monday. Even if you're going to go out, know that the reason you're going out should be on a very important basis. Don't just go out because you have to go out because they say. Because Nigerians are not thinking that it's a gradual lockdown. To them, that terminology gradual is not even there to them. The lockdown has been lifted. That is the only thing they have in their head right now. So that's just all I have to say.
All right, now, Mr. Dan, there are going to be a lot of enforcement, though, because there are stringent measures attached with the relaxation of the lockdown, things not to do, where not to go, how not to behave, and all of that. And of course, the security forces are going to be up in arms to ensure that Nigerians adhere to this instruction. So, the final word to Nigerians, especially paying attention to rules and regulations. So
discipline.
Well, you see, one factor leads to another. Now, the FG has released money to every state. All the states have money now to pay workers their salaries, to pay both public servants, serving and retired, their severances and gratuities. The federal government has done that. We are seeing it every day. We know the number of the 36 states, the number of the states that have collected this money. The onus is on you now, the governors and the bureaus at all the states, to do what? Pay your workers. When you give them their money, all this struggle that you see on the street may not even be there. People will originally on their own stay indoor and eat what they want to eat.
But what about those people that are not on payroll?
I'm talking about the workers. Today is Workers' Day.
Okay.
So pay your workers. Pay your workers. Public servant, pay them. Civil servant, pay them. Even if you can't pay all, at least pay them. At least to some extent where they will be cushioned in this hard, heat economy that is hitting hard on everybody. Pay them. Don't withhold their money. And God bless Nigerian workers. A luta continua, Victoria Asceta. I believe that you can always stand for what is right, what is justified, and what is patriotic, so that our country, Nigeria, can obey the rules and regulations brought to us by COVID-19.
All right. Okay, Nigeria, I hope you all heard by Monday, 4th of May, the partial lifting of the lockdown on Abuja, Lagos, and Ogun State. That doesn't mean it is all over. COVID-19 is still very, very much around the corner. Please, if you are going out for whatever reason, ensure that you obey and ensure that you obey. Get your face masks, wash your hands, maintain social distancing, and please, when you see security agencies, be nice so that you don't get the brunt of the security agencies. This time, all we should do and all we should ensure is that we stay alive to survive COVID-19. Thank you very much for being a part of this very, very interesting episode. Thank you very much, Mr. Daniel.
Thank you, Mr.
so much
Charles.
for Mrs. Joe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And also thank you to those of you that called in, Mr. Peter that called, and then the caller that called from Ghana. Thank you so much for being a part of this situation.